Here, in the monument of Benito Juarez, starts our history. Benito Juarez was born on March 21st, 1806, in a small town called San Pablo, Gelatao, under the jurisdiction of San Tomas Citlan in Oaxaca, into a family of Zapotec Indians. However, at 3 years old, his parents died due to complications of diabetes, and he was left to be cared for by his sisters Maria Josefa and Rosa under the guardianship of his paternal grandparents Pedro Juarez and Brigada Garcia. A few years later, his grandparents died, and he was left under the guardianship of his uncle Bernardino Juarez. He had no patrimony, and his uncle lived on personal work, mainly farming the cornfields. Benito had a passionate desire to learn and was taught by him to read and use the Spanish language, which was difficult for impoverished people, including the indigenous class, to learn. Despite the academic lessons and daily work conflicting, Benito made no progress. This situation led him to leave Gelatao due to the lack of education, as the Spanish language was not spoken in that region. He had doubts about leaving his hometown, because he never wanted to separate from his childhood life and was deeply connected to his native land. However, the opportunity came for him on December 17, 1818, when at 12 years old, he marched on foot from his hometown to the city of Oaxaca and arrived on the same night. He stayed at the home of Don Antonio Massa, where his sister Maria Josefa served as a cook. During the first days in the city of Oaxaca, he worked as a bookbinder for Don Antonio Salanueva, a member of the Franciscan order. Salanueva later offered Juarez a place to stay at his house so that he could be taught how to read and write. Juarez officially settled in Oaxaca on January 7, 1819. Over the years, he studied law at the Institute of Sciences and Arts and graduated in 1837. He became active in liberal politics, eventually becoming governor and later president of the Supreme Court of Mexico. He participated in the measures known as La Reforma during the presidencies of Juan Alvarez and Ignacio Comonfort, which led to the Constitution of 1857. When President Comonfort resigned, Juarez became the constitutional president of Mexico and led the liberals during the Reform War, prevailing against the French intervention. He was also one of the first indigenous presidents of Mexico of Zapotec origin. His policies advocated for civil liberties, the sovereignty of civilian power over the Catholic Church and military, in which the Mexican people owe him a lot of privileges for, and strengthening of the Mexican federal government. After Juarez's death in 1872, he became the only individual whose birthday is celebrated as a national public and patriotic holiday in Mexico, which is on the 21st of March.
I am grateful, extremely grateful to be here in Gelatao to understand about one of the greatest presidents that this nation has ever had, contributing to his community, his country, and his ideals that arched into Latin